This video has been sponsored by Meso CNC Controllers. Hello again everyone. Today I'll be restoring this 1968 Hot Wheels Ford J car. The J in the name had to do with the fact that the car was designed to meet the new regulations in Appendix J of the race rules brought out in 1966. I'm not an expert on Ford racing or the real car, other than it lives in the Ford GT family. It also lives in the Hot Wheels Sweet 16 family, and I feel confident in saying Mattel made orders of magnitude more of this toy than Ford made of the real car. As such, these are pretty easy to get your hands on if you decide to give restoring Redlines a try. As you'd expect after taking the car apart, we find the obligatory dirt and dust buildup in the passenger compartment. The windshield seems to have fared rather well given the condition of the rest of the car. A young child definitely had a good time with this one. I will go ahead and start the dirty work of removing the paint with some aircraft paint stripper and an old toothbrush. Old Spectraflame is no match for this stripper, and usually all the paint can be removed in one application. After the paint is removed, I can see how much of the car is oxidized and how damaged the underlying zinc layer is. I've definitely seen worse, but to make things quick, I'll dip the car into the electropolisher to remove all the oxidation. Here's what the car looked like after the electropolishing. I'm not sure why the engine compartment hood is discolored. It looks like it's been lightly copper plated. My electropolisher's been doing this lately, but only to hoods. It doesn't seem to affect anything else. And I can't say for sure that it's copper, but it's definitely strange. After the electropolisher, I'll go over the body with some 4/0 steel wool just to be sure that all the oxidation is removed. With the body lightly sanded, I'll wash it with some dish soap and water and then some degreaser. I can then submerge it into a zinc plating bath for 30 minutes at 90 to 100 milliamps. After the 30 minutes is up, I'll remove the car and go over it with some 4/0 steel wool to lightly sand the new zinc layer. This first plating is always the most difficult to clean up. After that, I will place the body in the zinc plating bath for another 30 minutes. This time the cleanup is very easy, and sanding the whole car down takes only a few minutes compared to the 15 or 20 minutes I usually spend cleaning up the first plating. Last, I'll drop the car in for one more time at 15 minutes. This is just my insurance policy that the whole car is plated with a nice layer of zinc. You can see here how it looked after I was done cleaning up the zinc plating. Normally I'd go straight to painting, but here I thought I would change things up a little bit and give the car a light polish. I'm not going for a mirrored polished look here, I'm just shining up the metal a little bit. After the polishing step is done, I'll drop the car into some mineral spirits to remove all of the polishing compound, and then use some dish soap and water to remove any mineral spirits. If you've been watching all my previous Redline restoration videos, you know I've been working on my all-orange Sweet 16 collection, which is why I'm restoring this car. So getting to painting, the first layer is just a tack layer. A tack layer just helps establish the first coat, which is when you really start to see the color being applied. The first coat was very light compared to the second coat, which is when 90% of the paint is really applied. The third and last coat is really just to make sure I didn't miss anything and to be sure that I have a uniform gloss coat over the entire body. I've heard of people doing it all in one coat. That's definitely possible, but for me I like at least 2 coats, and I find the tack coat to be indispensable for getting a thinner overall layer of paint. With the body done, I can move to the base where I'll start by cutting off the old wheels. You can try to salvage them if you want, but more than likely you'll just pull the white plastic bearing off the wire axle. This destroys the axle assembly and you'll have to find a replacement axle. This normally means you'll have to scavenge it from another car, which for me is just not worth it. To remove the oxidation from the base, I'll use my lime-away method I showed a few videos back. This is nowhere near as fast as the electropolisher, but I had this out for another project and figured I would just use it instead. I think I left it in for about 5 minutes to remove all the oxidation. I then use a very soft brass brush to polish up the die-cast metal. Up next is the windshield and interior plastic. The interior plastic is in fine shape and only needs to be washed with some soap and water. The windshield is pretty scratched up and needs some work done. Now I'm going to do a little bit of video trickery here, as I originally polished the windshield and discovered that I couldn't get all the scratches out with the polisher. So I started over and began sanding with some 600 grit sandpaper to remove the deep scratches, and then some 1500 grit sandpaper to remove the 600 grit scratches. I could then use the polisher to easily remove the 1500 grit lines and bring the plastic back to a nice and glossy look. With the windshield finally done, I'll move back over to the base and put the new reproduction wheels on, and then start putting the car back together. Or at least that's what I was planning on doing. I really wanted to complete this car, so I ended up shelving it for a while until I could order some reproduction stickers from the Redline shop. Now, I personally hate stickers. They're not nearly as easy to put on as water slides, in my opinion. Water slides let you slide them around for the perfect fit, while stickers don't have that ability. So I ended up struggling to put these on and get them perfect. If you look at many of the cars out there, you can see kids had difficulty putting them on as well, as you can find cars with stickers in all sorts of orientations. The final step was to add in some of the small details like the back engine grille that I painted in black primer and the taillights with a red marker. And with that, this J-car restoration is complete. And I've knocked off one more of my orange Sweet 16 cars. When I do the last one, I'll definitely show them all together. As I said before, the J-car is a good car to play around with if you're getting into Redline restorations. You can buy them for a couple dollars on sites like eBay. They have some details that you need to look out for, but for the most part, they're an easy car to restore. These stickers are of course optional, and most of the time you'll find this car without them. The wheels on this model seem like they're bending down. This is because I have the car on the stand. When the car is placed on the wheels, they move into their proper position. All of these old heavily used Redlines have this play in the bearings, and you just have to account for this. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video, and I should have 1 or 2 more out before the end of the year. As always, I'd like to know your thoughts below, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.